Hey guys, welcome back. Today I thought we'd take a break from the usual to talk about DCS Combined Arms, which is kind of like playing World of Tanks, except in DCS world, or maybe War Thunder tank battles or some sort of something like that. Anyway, it's in a lot of ways it's more realistic, but let's go ahead and have a look at it. So I'm going to do a quick bare minimum basics tutorial on the armored vehicles here. I've got the Persian Gulf map pulled up, and I'll just start setting some stuff up here. So we'll start by going to the ground units menu, and we can pick from a variety of units. Here's the amphibious unit for the US. This thing actually has a grenade launcher and a 50 caliber machine gun. We won't look at that today though. That's for a separate video. For right now, my main focus is going to be the Bradley. They also want to make sure that you have checked player can drive on these, by the way. And that you have combined arms, of course. We'll do the M1a2 Abrams. Always nice to have an American main battle tank. And why don't we do a Striker SPG while we're at it. Alright, so with that out of the way, we're going to have to come up here to Battlefield Commanders, and this is very important. You need to either add Game Master or Tactical Commander slots, or you need to just simply check this. This is a lot easier. Pilot can control vehicles. And that's, of course, if you're just playing single player or multiplayer and you don't care who gets in what vehicle. So, let's go ahead and set some stuff up here to attack. I'll just do Combined Joint Task Forces Red. We'll stick a Panzer IV in there because why not? Delete the waypoint. I'll just move it around here behind the building. Then we'll stick some if I can do it, we'll stick some infantry in here. Then I'll come over here, go to Russia. Unarmed, I don't want to get shot at because you will get one-shotted in here. So we'll just go Earl 375 truck. Yeah, that's good enough for me. Put in like 3 of those. Alright, now let's fly this mission. Alright, so this is what we've come up with. I'm going to go to the F10 map. And then we're going to come over here. I'm going to click on the Bradley for starters. Right, Alt, and J on the keyboard will allow you to take control of the vehicle. You need to hold down S for the brake. And then we'll use X to shift the gear up from neutral to drive. Z puts you down 1 gear. You have to hold the brake while you're doing it usually. And then W is the gas pedal. And then you can steer using the A and D keys like in World of Tanks. Or you can also set it up to steer with your joystick, which is what I like to do. I have my joystick set up in the Axis Commands panel. If I go to Adjust Controls, we have Combined Arms selected, Axis Commands. Rotate Turret is my twist grip function on the joystick. turn left and right is what you would normally have banked left and right for an aircraft, and turret elevation is, of course, forward and back on the stick. So we can have the F7 view here. We can drive from that, although you will need the mouse to look around and keep track of where you're going. You turn the volume down just a bit. We can also drive from the F1 view here, and the F1 view shows by default the position of the gunner or commander. We'll notice up here in the top right hand corner of the screen we have a heading indicator that tells us what direction we're going, and we have a more precise one up here in the middle top of the screen. But inside that heading indicator off to the right is a little tank, and that shows what direction the turret is pointing relative to the tank. So when I slew the turret around, that little turret on the tank follows it. And that's how you know what direction your turret is pointing, and therefore your point of view, because your point of view follows the turret here. Now we can press left control and Charlie to get in the driver's position, and then we don't have to worry about that. Be very careful about the bushes. Some of them you can drive through, most of them you can't. And you can't drive over any of the trees either. They will stop you, and you will have to shift gears, back up, and, well, basically just kind of try again to get around it. Make sure of where we're going here. We're driving through this little town. Gonna apply the brake. That way we don't run into the building. Now when you set up your joystick to steer with, it will be very, very sensitive. So I have turned the Y saturation down in the Tune Combo Access menu way down. Alright, so here's our first target. It's an enemy soldier. We're going to press F1 to get back into the gunner's position. I'm going to use my twist grip on the joystick and the forwards and back motion to slew the gun sight onto the target. Alternatively, you can use the mouse like this, and it will be the left mouse button to fire, or the trigger on the joystick. And by default we have the 25mm cannon selected. We can press E to shift between weapon or ammunition types depending on what vehicle we're in. So if I press E the first time, it changes us to the 7.62mm coaxial machine gun in the turret. If I press it again, we get a TOW missile launcher. The Bradley, if we take a look outside here, has a little box on the upper left side of the turret. That is a 2-shot TOW missile launcher, and it has reloads inside. I'll go into how to reload those in a separate video, but for now we don't need the TOW. Let's press E again. There we go. That was a little buggy. Gonna press left control and Charlie to get back into the driver's view, because you have a much wider field of view in the driver's view. And whoops, here's our next victim. Press F1. We do have to be mindful of our traverse, so we can't depress the gun down far enough to shoot at this guy. You can see that when I push the gun down, it will show a little... There it was. It will show that little red flashing thing in the bottom. That means that we're at the limit of our gun depression. and for some reason it will really elevate. But anyway, so let's shift back into reverse. Use W to back up a bit, then hold the brake. We're at the limit of our depression again, but it doesn't matter. There we go. Not sure why it wants to be so buddy today. Oh boy, here's another one. There we go. Whoops. Forgot to turn it back into drive. And I want to I say I want to realign the turret. We're now going to use the 7.62mm machine gun, which you actually have to hit soldiers with in order to bring them down. It doesn't have any splash damage like the 25mm does. And oh, look at that! A Panzer IV. Armor mechanics are modeled in combined arms. Let's hurry up and get rid of that Panzer IV before he sees us. So I'm going to press E. Up, he's seen us. Bring up the tow. Fire. Just using the trigger. Bingo. Got it. And by the way, the tow does not require a lock. It just goes wherever your crosshairs is aiming. So let's press E again, get back to the 25mm. Right or left control and C to get back into the driver's position. You cannot turn the turret from the driver's position, by the way. That also simplifies things for when you're just driving around. And somewhere around here, I put some trucks. You know what, the novel thing to do would be to figure out where they are via the F10 map, and there they are. Alright, well, I've pretty much showcased the M1a2 Bradley. Let's hop into the M1a2 Abrams and check it out. So, we're just back in the F10 map, select the vehicle we want, right Alt and J on the keyboard, and here's our beautiful Abrams. And we are in neutral, by the way. It's always in neutral by default. Hold down the brake and press X, and then we can drive. Similar to the Bradley, we can switch to the driver's position. This thing will do 40 miles an hour, and I just switched to infrared view, switch back to daytime view. That is a big old gun hanging over our head, isn't it? Well, we're going to use it before too awful long. I'll cut some of this out of the video, but let's go back to the F1 view. Notice in the bottom right-hand corner next to the speedometer, so to speak, the gear indicator and the azimuth, way down at the bottom, we have 11/14 M829 A2, and in parentheses, 120mm APFS DST. That stands for the kind of ammunition that we have loaded. In this case, it's 120mm armor-piercing, fin-stabilized, discarding sabot round, or sabot for short, which is not particularly good for attacking trucks. You can use it, but it's not what I would choose. We can change that up, though. We can press E, and now we have heat loaded, or high explosive anti-tank. That's not ideal either, but it's better than sabot rounds, because honestly, the whole purpose of a sabot round is to just go through a tank's armor, and a truck has no armor, so whoops. We're gonna flip our tank over here if we're not careful. You have to be careful with terrain irregularities, because this is a flight simulator. After all, the terrain is not the most highly detailed, so you absolutely can get yourself stuck if you're not careful. Let's have a quick look at the F10 map, see where we're going. Alright, we're headed in the right direction, which is good. swing us a little bit to the right here. You can notice here that you can kind of hear a jet engine sound. That's because the Abrams is powered by a gas turbine engine, which is very much like a jet engine in a helicopter. So here's our trucks. Let's go ahead and turn this big 120mm RH 120 gun around. Now you can lock targets by pressing enter.
Gunner, heat, truck, designate.
There we go. And it shows you where to aim. This is more of an issue at long ranges, by the way. Oh yeah.
Fire.
I don't think we need to aim at this range. I can't possibly miss.
Target, ceasefire.
Although you'd think that sometimes, and then it will miss. Wonder if I can hit this guy. We can press E again, and it will give us the 7.62mm.
Gunner, Sabo, truck, designate.
Okay, so I do have a sabot round loaded, but it's not really going to matter.
Target, ceasefire.
So one thing I will note, if you put yourself in a vehicle that has got a lot of good armor, like a modern main battle tank such as the M1, and go up against a bunch of, say, World War II era vehicles, you are basically impenetrable. So the armor mechanics do work, I'm just not totally sure how they work completely, because it seems like all of the Western Bloc tanks get penetrated very, very easily by any of the modern Eastern Bloc Soviet MBT type vehicles, and really anything that's got a missile with a heat warhead like the Bradley with the TOW missile. It's going to go through pretty much anything as far as these vehicles are concerned. So I had one more thing I wanted to do. Let's go ahead and redo this mission a little bit and take care of that so that I can wrap this video up. Alright, so we're in one of my favorite combined arms vehicles, the Israeli main battle tank Merkava. Why do I like this thing so much? Well, I think it looks really cool, honestly, and it's a very, very well armored vehicle. Hear that shooting? Yep. Whoa. That's a bunch of Shermans and Panzer IVs, and they can't seem to... Well, they're hitting us, but not very often. There we go. I actually wonder what kind of ammo we're using. Don't want to turn our side to them because they might actually be able to penetrate that. And, whoops. Yeah. Whoops. Oh, we're using Sabot. Oh, yeah. Alright. This is fun. Whoop. That did not sound so good. Whoops. Oh, it's Mr. Sherman. It's 2 Shermans. Oh, it's a I didn't knock out that Panzer IV either. Goodbye, Mr. Panzer IV. Have to be careful about aiming too low because this thing. Whoops! Who keeps hitting me? Oh, it's the Sherman. Hello, Mr. Sherman. Goodbye, Mr. Sherman. Whoops. Oh, this could be an issue. We're not reloaded yet. Oh yeah, this is an issue. Oh wait, never mind. We got him. We got them all, actually. I think, didn't we? Yep, it's just us. 1 versus 8? No problem. Don't try that with the modern tanks, though, because you'll just get one-shotted. Alright, that's all I have to show. I just figured I'd do a little fun piece there at the end with the World War II vehicles. I know it wasn't realistic, but hey, it's just for fun, you know? Anyway, that's it for today, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.